It's a devastating story that came out over the weekend. South Africans really were taken aback by the recent news of a 43-year-old farm worker who was shot and killed, allegedly by his employer on a farm in Tarlton. It's outside Krugersdorp here in the Gauteng province. It is reported that the farm worker had apparently gone to get his lunch from his house using the employer's tractor. Pictures of the farm worker who lay in a pool of blood on the tractor has since been shared widely on social media, and it's caused quite a stir and a condemnation, as you can imagine, across all sectors, including some labour unions like SABC, which has issued a statement saying the Federation will be organising and mobilising workers to fight back. Gauteng MEC for Agriculture, Lebogang Maile, visited the family yesterday, and he joins us this morning to tell us a little bit more about this incident. MEC, thank you very much for coming in.
Good morning, and thanks for having us.
So you visited the family yesterday, and there have been so many different versions of the story coming out. What came of your visit yesterday?
I think it was important because we had to convey our condolences firstly and get a briefing. So what transpired is that the person who committed murder, it's the perpetrator. It's not the farm owner.
Okay.
It's actually a security guard who works for a company that has been contracted by the farm which the deceased who used to work for. So it's not true that the farmer killed the...
How sure are you of that information?
I'm absolutely sure. Can say it with absolute confidence.
Okay.
Because we met with the family, and the nephew, who was an eyewitness, is the one who gave us the briefing. And we also subsequently met with the police. We visited the police station because there were other allegations made about the conduct of some police officers, so that we get the version of the police.
Yeah.
And the police were able to clarify that indeed the person who committed the murder, it's not the farmer.
You know, because it's so important to get the true version of events, because whichever way you look at it, it is a very, very horrific story. But I think having the version that the farmer had killed the worker, again, would create such tension between farm workers and farm owners, and it's something that we really cannot have. But where did this version of events come from? Because even now, reading newspaper articles, people are saying that the farmer himself phoned the police to say he had killed a farm worker. I mean, what happened?
This can be attributed to a number of things, and I think one of them is just irresponsible reporting on the part of some of our journalists. I mean, you can't just report without verifying facts, because the spokesperson of the police in that area had spoken to some media houses and clarified the matter, but the story continued using the initial version, because on Saturday, even the community was made to believe that is the farmer, and hence they were very angry, and they damaged some property, including the car of the security guard. Some of them stoned the ambulance, which is unfortunate because the ambulance could not access the area, and the deceased died, I think, after 2 hours of being shot. So it's possible that he could have been saved. But because of how our people react, sometimes it creates this problem. So I think when things like this happen, we urge our communities to be calm. We urge them to cooperate with the agents of law enforcement and to not take the law into their own hands.
Yeah. So let us get the story correct now. Now that we have you here, you have visited the scene, and there have been some false reporting around it. Initially, there was talk that the farmer himself, the owner, had shot and killed the worker. But now it is the story of a security guard after the worker had so-called stolen the tractor to go and get his lunch. What was the story? I mean, had he just used the tractor and gone off of the farm? Why did the security guard shoot him? I mean, what was behind that?
What we were told is that he indeed works for the farm.
Yeah.
But no one knows whether he was given the authority to use the tractor or not, because the nephew saw him driving in the tractor, being followed by a buggy which had 2 occupants, and one of the occupants opened fire without uttering any word to anyone. So that part I cannot verify at this point, and I think it's only the owner of the farm who can confirm whether he had authority or not. But for me, at this point, that doesn't matter. It doesn't justify why the deceased, the perpetrator acted the way he did. It's just senseless and barbaric, and it must be condemned in the strongest possible terms.
Did the perpetrator appear in court on Monday?
Yes, the perpetrator appeared in court on Monday, and he will be going back again on the 15th of this month for a bail application, and we're urging the state to oppose that bail application, and we're calling on the people in that area in their huge numbers as part of solidarity and demanding justice to go to court and appear.
What about the farmer? His family, because obviously with the media reports that were going around saying that he was responsible for it, what about his family and their safety?
At this point, there's not been any indications of threat to his life or family. But we will also be engaging with the farmer, and the farmers not just in that area, in the whole province, because there are a whole range of issues related to how some of them conduct themselves, how they treat their workers, and of course there are other important issues of food production that we want to be engaging with them.
Yeah, it certainly is, because it's a major issue. I mean, when we go back to the Kolini sunflower case in the northwest, the coffin case in Mpumalanga, you know, these are, even though this wasn't necessarily, it wasn't a farm worker who was responsible, but these events do happen.
They do happen, and that is why, as a provincial government, we are worried. One of the things we have done through the Premier is to appoint a panel to advise us on social cohesion, which is constituted by various experts, just to deal with the issues of how people relate to each other and how can we build a cohesive society, and look at what are some of these underlying issues, most of which we know, but how do we deal with them, and how do you mobilize society and organize it in such a way that is able. So we are very much concerned as the provincial government.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for talking to us and clarifying the story for us here on the program. Gauteng Agriculture MEC Lebogang Maile, who visited the family of Aaron Mochvadzi, who was shot and killed by a security guard on a farm. It was in early January, which I think was this weekend, in fact, and now clarity coming that many had thought it was the farm owner, but it now turns out it was the security guard that had killed the farm worker. All right, let's take a break here on the program. We lighten things